Sorry guys, the camera turned off. I don't know why the camera turns off after 10 minutes of video, or 9 minutes sometimes, maybe less. Anyways, I'm gonna have to do this in two parts. So to continue the story, when we got off the freeway, we went to this gas station to get some sodas and knickknacks and candy bars and whatever. And we talked to the guy at the counter, and he said that the gas station was on federal land, but the land around it was an Indian reservation. And I never found out where, because I wasn't driving. We took off, 10 o'clock at night. We drove for a few hours, so I don't know where we were. I don't know if we were in Fresno or further up or down. Don't know. Also, I found out a letter that I sent to a guy that asked me for hunting tips. And let me turn this heater off. And I answered him back, and I said, well, I'll help you with what I can. I don't know how old he was, but apparently he's never been hunting before. So the tips that I have here are for mountain hunting. It's a little bit different than hunting on the flats because of the conditions and the altitude and everything else. So I said, let me see here. I said, okay, so I don't know exactly what you need, but I'll give you some pointers. Number one, first get to know your gun well. How to walk and carry the gun, bring it to your shoulders for a fast and effective shot. Practice gun position and quick target acquisition. So I suggested to put a bed sheet on the wall with a black button in the center and step away about 20 feet or so, 25 feet, and then bring the gun up and find that button real quick on the scope and bring it down and bring it back up again, and then swing around, and if you have the rifle on your shoulder, bring it out and practice. Do that. So that way when you do see a buck and the buck doesn't stay around for you to take get comfortable, you have to be quick on your feet. So this will help you, I said. And when you go to the range also, once you get the gun sighted in and you're comfortable shooting, after the gun is familiar with you, or you're familiar with the gun, go ahead and stand up and shoot standing up, because when you're hunting, you're not taking a bench with you. So you got to learn how to shoot standing up and wrap your arm tight around the sling or lean against the post, imitating a tree. So if you have a post, usually the ranges have a roof on it. You have a post, try to lean on that and shoot. Do that standing up, and that'll give you a better chance of shooting offhand, learn how to shoot offhand. Number two, what are you hunting for and how to do it? So I suggested to read some magazines and learn how to hunt different game like rabbit, boar, deer, bear, whatever. Number three, hunting alone. I said, I know it's fun hunting with the buddies, but it's better to break away from the group to hunt alone. You have a better chance of seeing deer, for it's less noisy and less movement. Number four, always hunt against the wind. If you're hunting with even a slight breeze on your back, the deer will smell you at 1,000 yards and hear you at 600 yards. Spray down your clothing with scent killer, and if you can find tie a feather, excuse me, I got a little bit of a cold. Tie a feather at the end of the barrel, or tape it, and let the feather flow freely. That will give you a wind direction, so when you're walking in the forest, the wind in one area might be going this way, and then further up it might be going this way, and if it's very light wind, you will notice it. So either you have the little puffy powder that the bow hunters use, or you can use a feather. I knew a guy that used to use a big lighter, But that's a little dangerous. You know, you could set the place on fire. So don't use a lighter. Just use a feather or the powder. um, and also, that's one of the reasons that the Indians used to have a feather at the end of their bow. So when, you know, the bow, the arrow has to fly, and if you have a lot of wind in one direction, it might veer off the arrow and not hit the target. So they needed to know what one direction the Indians. I mean, the wind is flying. The Indians were smart about stuff like that. 5. Hunt and learn how to walk silently and slowly. Before walking to the forest, stop and look with binoculars. There might be a deer bedding right in front of you. Look at everything with binoculars. Look at the shadows. You know, every time, I used to go see a lot of binoculars until I ended up keeping the one I have. And the guy would give me a binocular that has that red tint or whatever. So, oh, look at here, look at there, look how bright. And I said, yeah, but I'm not looking at bright areas. I'm looking at shadowy areas, at dark areas. That's what the deer hide. They don't hide in plain view. So I suggested to look in the shadow areas, under the trees, in the bushes. Look carefully at dry, snarly, thick brushes for shiny antler or head movement, ear flapping, ear movement. Watch the ground you place your feet. Don't step on dry branches or anything that will make noise. In the thick woods, it should take you about 35 to 45 minutes to cover 100 yards in a thick forest, not in the open. Number 6, in the forest, all surroundings look almost the same. So once in a while, look back and take a mental picture of the trail so you don't get lost on the return trek. Go slow and quiet and listen for any noise. Don't know how old you are, but this will become easier as you get older, and as it did me. I got better at it as I got older. Number 7, hunt all day. Some people hunt in the morning and then go back to camp for lunch and then take a nap and then go out for the afternoon hunt. Well, if you're serious about getting a buck, you should be at the mountain. Getting a buck, have to hunt all day, morning till dusk. Go in at night, come out at night, so take a flashlight or a headlamp. Best time is early morning, sometimes late afternoon, but I have seen deer move in the middle of the day, so if you're in camp having lunch, you're not going to get to see that. You eat your lunch on the mountain and you sleep on the mountain. You can take a nap there. And that will increase, if you stay on the mountain, that will increase the chances of getting a buck. Number 8, reading the sun. And I don't mean the time. Do you know how much daylight do you have to get back to the woods? Back to camp, I mean. In the mountain, this is very important, or you get lost in the dark. In the old days, the Indians used to learn the time by reading the sun. So I don't mean the time itself, like 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock. It's like telling how much light you have left. So I explained there that if you put your hand under the sun, the bottom of the sun, and you go hand over hand, under hand, all the way to your horizon, it'll tell you how many hours, because the hand, 4 fingers, it's an hour. So in the flat areas, the sun might come down at 6, but in the mountains, it might come down around 4, because the sun will go down the mountain, and pretty soon you start getting these shades, these shadows, and boom, it's dark. So in the mountains, a little bit different. So keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on how much light you got left, if you're planning on going back to camp, not staying there overnight. I know a friend that went down a steep canyon hunting for quail, not noticing the low light moving around him. Night fell quickly around him and he was lost. All the guys were on top of the rim looking and shouting down on the dark canyon. They could hear him, they could not get to him. He had to spend the night there. Later the next day, he told me he built a lean-to for shelter, but he had nothing else to wear except his shirt. That evening, he said to me, it was the coldest night of his life. He almost froze to death. So this is important. Take extra clothing, take a little backpack with some things, food and water and whatever, and take a flashlight and keep an eye on the sun. Number 9, learn to read signs and tracks. Look for fresh tracks, baiting areas, droppings. If the droppings are shiny, be ready. He might be right in front of you. If you find a fresh single track and nothing else around for 5 to 7 feet or so, that means that the deer got spooked and he's running. Don't even bother following that track because that deer is running. Go in a different direction. Number 10, do some pre-scouting, pre-hunting scouting. Go to the trails in the areas you're going to hunt. Look for water holes, food sources, streams, tracks that lead to water, main trails, bedding areas, etc. 11, ethics in hunting. Don't shoot at everything that moves. If you're hunting for deer, don't shoot at a rabbit or a squirrel. I spent many seasons not firing my gun because I didn't see a good buck to shoot. Don't have loaded guns in camp. Don't shoot at trees or soda cans just because you're bored. Be a responsible hunter and gun owner. Don't hang around people that do those things. Number 12, respect nature. Don't kill for the sake of killing. Every animal is here for a reason. So if you kill it, do the right thing, cook it, and eat it. If not, don't shoot it. This advice will make you a better hunter. There are countless of times I let pass animals. I just watch them and enjoy them being there. Like a big puffy squirrel one time, a gray one, had a beautiful tail, and he just 40 feet away from me, and I just was frozen there against the rock, and he didn't know I was there. And that's I enjoy watching him. Number 14, don't be disappointed. If you don't see anything the first time, don't worry. It takes time and patience. Find a spot with a good view. Sit down. Don't move around. Don't make any noise. Wait. I have many unsuccessful hunting trips, but on the way back, I'm always planning on the next trip. Number 15, hunting is not only about taking game, it's also about being there in nature, in God's country. Take time to appreciate the surrounding. Take a nap. Breathe the fresh air. Look at the ground. Look at the trees and stuff. Sometimes you'll find seashells at 7,000 feet. A hunting trip, not just the destination. So it's about the trip, not just the destination. Number 16, observe all animals and study their routine. So one time I was coming down this ravine. It must have been 3 o'clock, and I was already heading back. I said, "No, there's nothing up here." And I sat under a tree for about 2 hours, and I had a little bit of lunch and a soda and whatever. And then around 5 o'clock, just before I was going to get up, at 200 yards, a deer, a doe, and 2 fawns got up. And they just started grazing and moving around. So they were there all this time I passed by. They did not move. So you have to observe their routine, what time they bed down, what time they go eat, and maybe you get lucky, you find a spot that you can find some deer. So I said, okay, that's it. I mean, good luck to you, and if you get lucky this year and kill a deer, lower your head and in silent whisper, just say thank you, old hunter, and good luck, meaning me. All right, guys, thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.